Hey, I thought you didn't want to make Mario videos.
Well, yeah, but, Mario's cool.
But the lore!
It's me, a Mario.
I consider myself more of an enjoyer of the Mario series than a full-on Mario fan like I am with Sonic, but that doesn't change the fact that Mario is still one of the best video game franchises of all time. There's so many things to like about him. For a character with the personality of Drywall, there's no denying how many fun experiences you can get out of him. Platformers, racing games, party games, platformers with an extra D in it. The worst kind of sports games ever. Mario has it all, even educational time traveling games. But if there's one series of Mario games that stick out the most to me, it's the Mario RPGs. I'm not the biggest RPG guy. I've only recently got into Final Fantasy, and other than that, I've only dabbled into a few RPGs. But I've always been a fan of the Mario RPG series. They're just so fun and full of life, bringing in completely new worlds and characters while also adding depth to pre-existing worlds and characters. We got the good ones, the best ones, and the liars. So in honor of the recent RPG remakes for the series and my returning hyperfixation for the series, I think it'd be fun to look back at all the different Mario RPG franchises. I'm not gonna go over every game here one at a time, just the series itself, because I feel like I'd be here for a while if that was the case. The only outlier here is Mario RPG, because unlike Paper Mario or Mario and Luigi, this was only one game. So, here we go! Sorry.
No. I refuse to accept change. This is a Sonic channel and Little Big Planet channel for a brief period of time. Wait, no, don't delete me!
Mario RPG, the game that started all this shit. The game that turned Mr. Jumpman into Mr. Action Command. Man. Mario RPG was a very big step for the Mario franchise at the time. The series itself was still pretty new at the time, and the RPG genre was just getting popular. That's mainly because of the Final Fantasy series thanks to Square Enix, known as Squaresoft at the time. So obviously, Squaresoft was a pretty good choice to develop this game. It took the Final Fantasy style and made it more beginner-friendly for a wider audience. Still though, even with its more beginner approach, Mario RPG brought in so much life to the series. It brought in a story that's both in tone for Mario as well as being a bit more focused and upfront than a typical Mario game. Mario goes on a quest, meeting new friends and uniting with old ones to defeat the Smithy Gang, with a lot of these new characters being the most beloved characters in the whole Mario franchise. Like for example, Mallow, a cloud prince that grew up believing he was a frog, or Geno, a warrior from the legendary Star Road taking form of a puppet to help Mario through his adventure, and also owned by Square Enix and not Nintendo. Here's a me skin of him. Even the pre-existing characters got a lot more added depth to him. It's the first time we see Bowser become one of the good guys and team up with Mario. And Peach isn't just the damsel in distress who gets kidnapped anymore either. They actually added fresh and original ideas to these characters. And even if he can't really talk in this game, Mario's character shines. They use a show don't tell approach to his character, like when he switches to other characters when he tries explaining what's happening. The writing for this game holds up big time. It's funny, charming, and exciting. I find it super funny that no one in the Mushroom Kingdom cares what's going on. They all act like it's a typical weekday. There's also a joke in this game where if you look in a secret spot in Peach's room, you can find a PlayStation Move controller. Yeah. As for the gameplay, it definitely complements the story. The overworlds treat themselves more like a traditional Mario game than an actual RPG. You got question blocks, platforming sections. Okay, that's the only two things that make this a traditional Mario game. But in all fairness, those are the only two things that Mario had at the time, besides, like, Yoshi, I guess. The battle system in this game is great, too, and a lot of RPGs, when you pick an attack, that's it. It only gets you some hits, and then it's the opponent's turn. But in Mario RPG, the battles are a bit more strategic. When you attack using your jumps or your hammer, if you hit the action button at the right time, you get an extra hit. And when you're about to get hit by an enemy, you can dodge and get 0 damage taken from you if the time is right. It adds a bit more focus to this game, and a bit more challenge of its own. The game would be pretty easy without this stuff, and it's also just very Mario-like in feel. I don't really know how to describe that very well, but there's just certain things that just feel natural for a Mario game like this. It's crazy how well this game was for being the first Mario RPG, especially considering the series didn't have a lot to go by at this point. I think my biggest problem with the game is its art style. It's definitely charming and unique, especially for a Super Nintendo game, but it can be really dated and jagged. I mean, on the box art itself, Bowser's face is just a bunch of colored balls mashed together. But this is where the recent RPG remake shines. It refines what made the original so great and makes it even better while adding new stuff like triple move attacks, letting you and the partners of your choice combine their powers to launch a very overpowered move that makes the game, like, way easier. Oops. The remake also keeps the charm of the original art style while giving a charm of its own. The remake is just incredible. It gave me a newfound appreciation for Mario RPG. I even consider it one of my favorite games ever made. The game itself is still a pretty basic RPG, all things considered, but it makes up for it with its unique mechanics, writing, and secrets to find. It's one of the best SNES games, and the Switch remake just makes it 10 times better. And thanks to this game, it opened up the gates to do so much more with the idea of a Mario RPG, including 2 different RPG franchises. It makes me wonder what amazing and original ideas came out of this game. Fuck! Paper Mario, the most controversial Mario series of all time. A game series that I absolutely love and despise at the same time, and boy oh boy, it's sure a bitch to talk about online. This is mainly because of the split in direction the series took halfway through its run. Some people like this approach, and others think it's a sin from God.
Rest in hell, new Paper Mario! Fuck you!
I have a lot to say about this series. It's pretty much the game that made me interested in Mario RPGs and just Mario in general. The Thousand Year Door was one of my first ever Mario games, and fun fact, my first ever relationship came from this series. You'll never guess what ended it. Both the original Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door take what made the original RPG work and expands upon it so much while also trying its own thing. Sadly, Nintendo and Squaresoft had a bit of a falling out at the time. I'm not sure if it was for any bad or good reason, but in any case, a sequel to Mario RPG was scrapped. The idea of a Mario RPG was still poked at when Intelligent Systems started to work on what they had left from Mario RPG 2. That later turned into what we know as Paper Mario and its many sequels after it. I'm gonna mash both 64 and Thousand Year Door in this list because while both games stand on their own as very different titles, there's just enough similarities to group them together. 64 kinda keeps the tame story as the last game. Mario has to save Peach from Bowser after he steals the Star Rod, making himself invincible and lifting Peach's castle up in the sky. Mario sets off on a quest to locate the Star Spirits as he meets new characters along the way, while Thousand Year Door's story gets a little deeper than that as Peach gets kidnapped by a new group of baddies called the X-Nauts. And Mario must find the 7 crystal stars while meeting new friends along the way. Okay, looking back at this, both stories are actually pretty similar. What makes these stories unique, however, are the partners, one of the main aspects of the game. Similar to how Gino and Mallow acted in the original RPG, the partners are here to help convey the story while also adding new gimmicks to the gameplay. I love the characters here in both games. For the most part, they usually take basic Mario NPCs and add so much character to them. Like, for example, Koops, a young Koopa that just wants to set off on adventure to impress the town and his girlfriend. Or Bo, a leader of the Boos of Boo Mansion. We have a lot of new characters here too, characters that aren't just normal Mario enemies. Like Vivian, a character that started off as an antagonist along with her other siblings that later turned into a full-on partner. She's also just the best girl. The point is, the partners in these games are part of what makes this game special. They add so much more life to the stories you progress through. I mean, what other game lets you name your baby Yoshi Mr. Gus? Each character has something new to offer for the gameplay too. Other than the different angle of the camera, the gameplay of these games are pretty much more of Mario RPG style. The overworlds here are a mix of basic RPGs and a traditional Mario style, while the battles have a hand-holdy but still strategic set to them. The timing just right mechanic is still here but improved a bit, especially in the Thousand Year Door. They add a lot more engaging features to it, like style moves where once you land a hit while pressing certain buttons at a time, you can do a few tricks on the battlefield, raising up your star meter. This meter lets you use more powerful attacks and defenses. The partners can do this stuff too while also having new mechanics of their own, different controller inputs for fighting and different ways they work. You have to think of the partner you want for certain fights, as well as certain things you can find throughout the map, whether that's more paths or just secrets to find. Out of the 2 of these games, Thousand Year Door definitely has a more refined style to its battles compared to the original. You can even rally up audience members in the game to watch you battle. They can even help you by giving you support items or just be dicks and throw garbage at you. Now you may be thinking, oh well, that's great and all, me, but I don't get it. Why is it paper? What's the paper in Paper Mario have to do with anything? Well, so me, that's the thing. It doesn't really have anything to do with paper outside of art style. Sure, there are a few paper mechanics here and there, like the paper airplane you can turn into, but that doesn't really get in the way of anything, so it doesn't really matter. These games are just pure and simple, creative, fun times. They're some of the most beginner RPGs I've ever played, but they make up for it in all its crazy and wacky ideas. The writing still holds up to this day for these games too. They're pretty much just Mario soap operas, and I mean that in the best way. Especially Thousand Year Door. The first game is still really damn good, but Thousand Year Door knocks it out of the park. It took the stage as the definitive Mario RPG of all time. They also made a sequel to this game that had almost nothing to do with the RPG genre and is instead just a full version of that one Bowser minigame. Okay, I'm gonna briefly talk about this one because it's not even an RPG. I mean, sure, it has a few RPG elements, but in all fairness though, that'd be like calling Sonic Frontiers an RPG for sharing a few RPG mechanics. It's not. I love the story and characters of this game, but the gameplay is just kind of meh. It's definitely the weird middle child in the series. Nobody really cares for it. Just like me. Maybe one day I'll make a full video about this game. There's a lot to talk about with it. But for me, Nintendo had something special with these two last games. They were just pure amazing RPGs. I was super excited to see what the next pure Paper Mario game was. And for a certain period of time, it looked like we were getting just that. A new original Paper Mario game on the 3DS. And then Nintendo just decided to scrap it all and make the most bland, lackluster, toad-infested piece of Mario slop on the planet. And then they decided to do that 2 more times. This one's pretty okay though. With these games, I'm gonna talk about them briefly as well. Not as briefly as Super, but briefly enough to where you'll get the point as why I don't like them. Also, because I was so bored of them, I never beat any of them. Sticker Star is bottom of the barrel Mario game for me. It's just so boring. It gets rid of all the unique and original ideas of the older Paper Mario games. It just turns it into one of the most generic Mario games ever made. No original characters besides the sticker crown thing, no partners, no original antagonists. There's not even any new, what the fuck? There's not even any new or unique areas in this game. The story is just Mario going to nab some special stickers because Bowser kidnapped Peach. Cool. I have no idea why they just decided to get rid of a lot of the RPG stuff in this game. I get that Nintendo likes to say it's more of an action adventure than an RPG, but then why would you still keep the RPG styled fighting in this game? You don't even level up! Why wouldn't you give an actual incentive to fight in this game? There's no reason to. Granted, each time they kept doing this, it slowly got better and better, with Sticker Star being the worst of it. Color Splash was kind of more of the same thing, but it had funnier writing and at the very least a small incentive to fight. You get little paint splotches every time you fight. And Origami King just being the best out of all 3 of these games. Color Splash is okay. The exploration in this game is actually really fun. They do this stupid world map thing in both games, but the actual areas in Color Splash feel great to mess around in. It's a fun mess of a game, but that's all I really got with Color Splash. It's pretty much just the same shit as Sticker Star other than that. Bowser kidnaps Peach with paint instead of stickers, and this Shy Guy sucks Toad's dick. With Origami King though, I actually think it's a pretty great game. Until I got bored of it because there's no incentive to battle. They actually bring a lot of elements back from older Paper Mario games. Kinda. Returning partners, kinda. New characters, if you count pencils as characters, I guess. The puzzle mechanics they got here are actually really fun. You have to align all the enemies up before attacking them to get greater hits. They even bring back the audience gimmick from Thousand Year Door. The audience helps the player out with coins and whatnot. The partners in this game are just kinda there. You get them for a short period of time throughout the game and then lose them a little while later. The only memorable one here is Bobby, a bomb that loses its fuse and its memory. He kills himself after getting it back though, so I don't know, I guess he had a shitty life. The partners don't really do anything. You can't even use them in battles. They just kind of do their own thing sometimes. I mean, hey, they're partners, I guess. The story in this game is actually really interesting though. Bowser's finally not the villain again. This time it's King Ollie, an origami prince that enslaves the Mushroom Kingdom into origami zombies. And it's up to Mario and King Ollie's sister Olivia to stop it. That's about it. Pretty okay. I think it's pretty obvious that newer Paper Mario isn't for me. I'm not a big fan of all the Reliant shit they got on the paper stuff. It kind of sounds dumb, I know, but come on, the old games didn't go this far with that stuff. If you enjoy these games, more power to you. I know there's a handful of people that actually like Sticker Star for how cozy it is. I honestly wish I had that same mindset with the game. Same with the other 2. Thousand Year Door got remade though, so fuck those last 3 games. And it's amazing. I already said Thousand Year Door is the definitive Mario RPG so far, but this remake solidifies it. It gets rid of the small problems the old game had and adds so many good features to it. For example, they actually took the dynamic music from Origami King and used it for remixes in the soundtrack here. Every location has a different remix of pre-existing themes. The backtracking in this game is a lot better now too, and the visuals don't go crazy with the paper stuff. Which, yes, I know it sounds fucking stupid, but look, there's a difference between having a charming art style and just shoving arts and crafts in your face, okay? I am very happy about this remake, and I'm so glad it's doing well. I'm really hoping it shows people just what fans of older Mario RPGs are talking about with these games. Who knows, maybe we can get an actual 3rd Paper Mario game out of this. With original characters, new worlds to explore, an amazing story? Or maybe they just couldn't think of a paper gimmick this year and the next game we're gonna get is about fighting puppets and markers and shit. Man, this Mario guy is pretty cool in these games, but I think we're all thinking the same thing here. Where the fuck is his brother? Oh, cool. The Mario and Luigi series, the game series that gave Luigi striped socks. Also, noticeably the series that gave us, like, the best Mario artwork ever made. I mean, look at this style! The series was developed by Alpha Dream. They weren't really known for much other than these games, but regardless, they looked at Mario RPG and decided to develop their own set of Mario RPGs for the handheld Nintendo consoles. It really shows, too, because it feels the most like a proper Mario RPG sequel series, but also the most refreshing series in the whole list. The stories in these games consist of Mario and Luigi teaming up to travel across many different kingdoms and locations outside of the Mushroom Kingdom, meeting a lot of new faces and old faces as they try and stop whatever antagonist of the week appears. They all consist of pretty much the same setup, but it mixes it up with different ideas, like time travel, alternate universes, and I'd get in trouble if I said this one. My favorite story in the whole series has to be Dream Team. Mario and Luigi go on a quest through Pillow Island to rescue Peach from Phantasma. You can even travel through dreams of Luigi in this game. I'm obviously telling a more simplified version of the story here, but the full-on stories in these games are so good. They just have so much to offer, arguably even more than the classic Paper Mario games. They introduce a lot of new gimmicks in these games as well, the most important one being what they do with the bros. There's no partners in this game, that's what Luigi's role is for. You control both of them in these games through the maps and battles. You can even do attacks together, kind of like the triple move attacks in Mario RPG. I'm gonna be honest though, other than that, all the stuff I said about the other games can be applied to these ones. They put a Mario spin on things to otherwise basic RPG worlds. I'd say these games rely on a lot of platforming though, so I don't know, maybe it's a mix of RPG and platforming, especially Dream Team. These are the newest games I've played in the whole list. I never really grew up with them besides Dream Team, and well, don't worry, we'll get to that one. Still though, going back to Superstar Saga, Bowser's Inside Story, and even Partners in Time has been really fun. It's probably the most interesting series in this whole video for me. I love the way Mario and Luigi act here. The series itself started off when Luigi wasn't really as big as a character as he is now. We only really had the first Luigi's Mansion game to go off of, so I think it's thanks to these games that Luigi isn't just a Mario clone anymore. Since most of these games are DS games, they have a lot of bottom screen gimmicks. A perfect example of that being Dream Team. I'll argue that's the best one till the day I die. You can use Luigi's face to affect the area around you. They don't really shove them in your face a lot, so it's all good. These games are just great. I have a lot more to say about Paper Mario than I do with these ones, but that's mostly because I have more experience with Paper Mario. Still though, I'm conflicted between Thousand Year Door and Dream Team being my favorite RPG in the franchise. It's a shame that the paper bitch came to ruin yet another Mario RPG franchise. As you can probably tell with this video, I kinda hate basic stories. I love a good adventure that I can remember fondly. It's why I'm so addicted to the Sonic series. Sure, the stories have flaws in them, but who cares? They're all great. Well, mostly great. Which is why I love the RPG Mario games as well. Thousand Year Door has such a great story to it, and so does most of the Mario and Luigi games. That's why I was so excited to see a crossover between the two series, combining both worlds together. Worlds that have way different characters, themes, stories into one giant game would have been great. But no, instead the story is just Paper Bowser and regular Bowser teaming up. The only joke they have in this game is just, oh, you're Paper Me. So yeah, that's just kind of great. Gameplay though is the best in the series here. They refined it very well and it's the smoothest a Mario and Luigi game has been. But good gameplay doesn't really make up for a lackluster story, especially in an RPG. You don't even get to see all the Paper Mario partners, it's just a bunch of Toads and Koopas. I will say though, after this game came out, I was excited for all the possibilities this game brought on the table. It made me realize Mario and Luigi was just the perfect game series for crossovers. I was hoping and praying especially for a Mario and Luigi game that had Sonic in it. Imagine a full-on RPG that just combined both franchises together, it would have been great! But then Alpha Dream shut down after 2 basic remakes in a Mario and Sonic game. And that wasn't even an RPG, it was just the Olympics. We did get Rabbids though. Yeah, after Paper Jam, the state of Mario RPGs have been kind of stuck in limbo. Paper Mario was fully action-adventure, and all we got for RPGs was the Mario and Rabbids games. I never really played them, they just don't really look that fun. How the hell did the Rabbids get a proper crossover with Mario before Sonic did? And these games don't count, fuck you. They are probably good games, but like, man, I'd kill for classic Mario RPG again. Whether that's a new Paper Mario game, Mario and Luigi, or hell, a new series entirely. Though thanks to the remakes that Nintendo's been pumping out, like the original RPG remake and the Thousand Year Door, I'm hopeful this means Nintendo's once again interested in this stuff. There's even a small rumor of something related to Mario and Luigi coming out. Still, even with my complaints with some of this stuff, I still think the world of Mario RPGs are amazing. They're definitely the most interesting branch of Mario spin-off games here, with all their different characters and worlds and ways they use pre-existing characters. I love these games. I'm very hopeful for the future of these games. You're probably wondering why I talked about all these series so briefly, but to put it simply, I don't want to spoil these games for you all too much. Play them for yourselves and have an amazing time with them if you haven't. Even the ones I'm not a fan of, gain your own thoughts on them. And if you don't agree on some of the things I've stated here, leave a comment. Let's discuss this stuff. I'd love to hear your own thoughts.
Wait, hold your horses for a second. You forgot to go over Mario's greatest RPG. It's even got Blue Toad in it.
Oh, well, I mean, I guess it wouldn't hurt to try. What the fuck?